Neanderthal Technology, contrasting two types of home. We think of our prehistoric ancestors as people of the ice and snow, living in caves, and for many of the West European Neanderthalers, that is a just picture of their life. But where there were no caves, further to the east on the Russian steppe, for example, open-air sites with some sort of constructed shelter were the only option. We now know much more about the cave sites than the open-air ones, because historically it was the cave sites of Western Europe that were first explored by archaeologists, and also because open-air sites are harder to find. Many of them have disappeared under deep mud deposits or under the rising post-glacial seas. Caves, moreover, aid the survival of archaeological material and can preserve the records of remote millennia. 3. A perfect place to live. In southwest France, the limestone caves of the Perigord region made ideal homes for the Neanderthal people. There were good supplies of flint to hand for axes and the like, and the caves were often sited in small river valleys that offered protection against the worst of the weather. The Neanderthalers liked south-facing caves for obvious reasons of sunshine and wind avoidance, and caves at some height above the valley floor offered refuge from floods and good game-watching vantage points. The Perigord region during the last ice age was, in fact, an exceptionally benign habitat for humans. It enjoyed a rather maritime climate, with cooler summers that permitted the extension of tundra and steppe over its higher plateaus. And its year-round high levels of sunshine favored the growth of the ground plants needed by reindeer, bison, and horse. Winters were mildish for the Ice Age. Animals never needed to migrate far from summer to winter, and men never needed to travel far from home to find abundant supplies of meat. A. Evidence of outdoor dwellings. In Central and Eastern Europe, where caves were unavailable, such open-air sites as have been discovered were mostly located near water, both because this was a good area to be for people and animals, and also because the sedimentation potential of lakes and stream courses has aided archaeological preservation, whereas erosion has presumably blown away sites which were out in the open. Some of the open-air sites in Germany, Central Europe and Russia have provided valuable information about Neanderthal man and his way of life. From Moldova, for example, comes evidence that has been interpreted as the remains of windbreak structures, or even a large tent, a ring up to about 8 by 5 meters in size of mainly mammoth bones enclosing a dense concentration of stone tools, animal bones and ash. 4. Examining the cave contents. From the West European caves, more evidence of built structures is available, and some of it goes back a long way in time. In the Grotte du Lazarette near Nice, at a date during the last ice age but one, claims for some sort of skin tent within the cave have been advanced, on the basis of arrangements of large stones out from the cave wall that might have supported timber struts for a covering of skins up to the rock face above. At Lazarette, what might be openings in the hypothesized tents seemed to point away from the cave mouth, and finds of wolf and fox foot bones without the rest of the skeletons inside these tents have been thought to indicate the use of animal pelts as bed coverings. The 2 patches of ash at Lazarette that mark ancient fires, with stone tools around them evidently made and used on the spot, are edged with small marine mollusk shells, prompting the excavator to suggest that seaweed had been used as bedding around the fires. The cave of Beaune in the Basses Alpes region of France, another early site, boasts 10 square meters of cobbles brought up from the local river and laid down as though to take care of a puddle area in the cave, with the smoothest and roundest surfaces of the stones uppermost, and there are other similar cases. 6. A vital source of power. The ash encountered in concentrations at some sites testifies to the Neanderthal people's use of fire, not surprising since use of fire was, by Neanderthal times, an already ancient accomplishment of evolving humanity, and survival in the subarctic conditions faced by the Neanderthalers is inconceivable without control of fire. Fire gave warmth, light, heat for cooking, and defense against predatory animals. A charred piece of birch from Krapina in Croatia is thought to be the remains of a fire-making twill stick. But Neanderthal hearths, in the sense of specially constructed places for fire, are fewer and harder to identify with certainty than the mere ash piles that are a regular feature of their sites. They seem often to just light a small fire 40 to 50 centimeters across on the existing ground surface of the cave without preparation. Judging from the shallow penetration of heat effects under the ash, this fire was only of a short duration. Sometimes the fires were larger in size, up to 1 meter across, and quite irregular in shape. It is not always easy to decide how much additional structure some fires possessed. Claims of stone circles to contain the fire run up against the fact that stones tend to litter the cave floors everywhere, and those around a fire can quite accidentally look as though they were arranged in a circle.